Are the media Donald Trump's evil empire? That's what Rich Lowry says. I sat down with the editor of National Review and a Fox News contributor here in Washington. Rich Lowry, welcome.
Hi, Howie. Thanks for having me.
There has been a media drumbeat along the lines of this New Republic headline. Every Trump official with a conscience must resign. This came into the news when Gary Cohn, the chief economic advisor, according to the New York Times, drafted a letter of resignation, decided to stay put. What do you make of the press almost demanding, urging that people just leave the White House?
Well, some of it, I think, is probably well-intentioned, that they're outraged, generally outraged by what the president said, but a lot of it also is motivated by the belief you have high-level officials going, you're going to collapse the Trump administration. So I think in the New Republic that has to be sort of back, at least in the back of their minds.
Whereas your view is that even if they don't agree with the president on everything, it's important for good people to stay in government and to help run the government. So Gary Cohn telling the Financial Times, I believe this administration can and must do better in consistently and unequivocally condemning these groups, the hate groups of Charlottesville. And as a Jewish American, he says, I will not allow neo-Nazis ranting, Jews will not replace us, to cause this Jew to leave his job. And the tone of the mainstream media is sort of like, well, that's great, Gary, but how could he not quit?
Right. Yeah. I thought that statement was bizarre, and it just speaks to how much media pressure there is, probably how much social pressure there is.
Why bizarre?
On someone like Gary Cohn. Well, okay, if you're upset with the President of the United States and don't think he performed appropriately in this moment, you can quit, which apparently he considered doing. You can talk to him in private and let your discontent be known and tell him ways he can improve, but just publicly airing it just seems very strange to me. You are part of what's supposed to be a unitary executive, but we've seen Trump do the same thing. If you're upset with Jeff Sessions, call him on, call him in the White House and tell him how upset you are. You don't need to tweet at him, but that seems to be the age we live in.
A lot of freelancing in this administration. You write in Politico that the media are Trump's evil empire, as in the Soviet Union days, and also in the wake of Charlottesville, his lifeline. How so?
Yeah. Well, one, I just think the media has replaced the Soviet Union, in effect, as the common unifying enemy of every faction on the right. Doesn't matter whether you're a religious conservative or a libertarian, whether you're pro or anti-Trump, everyone considers the media, in effect, a domestic enemy. And
does that include National Review, which is not
well, for some people, we don't include ourselves as part of that media.
Okay.
But Trump, has sort of a great EQ. He realized what excites people, what energizes people, and he got onto this. And Republican politicians have always criticized the media, going back at least, to 1969.
Sure.
Spiro Agnew gave this excoriating speech about TV commentators. But Trump has taken it to a whole different level, and it's part of what bonds the Republican base to him.
Well, in the same piece, you say that Trump is outrageous. Again, you're not a big fan of the president, but that makes the media feel justified in the unrelentingly harsh coverage. Should they feel justified?
Well, look, I think there are a lot of stories that need to be told about this administration. I don't think this administration often is very truthful, and there's a lot of incompetence and things that can be exposed, and that's fine. That's what the media should do. But it's all through this haze of unrelenting hostility and hysteria. Every other day, it's not just that the Trump administration did something wrong or Trump said something controversial. It's the end of the Trump era is upon us. And so I think the media is actually worse than it's ever been, and that helps Trump because it's his main foil, and the more biased and hysterical it is, the easier it is for him to beat up on it.
And you made an observation about CNN and the tone of its coverage toward the president. Which was?
Yeah, well, CNN, they're clearly loving this, right? They Trump hate watches CNN, and CNN hate covers Donald Trump, right? It's just, look,
And gooses its ratings.
Yeah, in 4 hours and 32 minutes, tune in to hear Donald Trump attack us. And then for the next 5 hours, we're going to say how outraged and dismayed we are that Donald Trump attacked us, and we're going to reap the benefits of higher ratings.
I guess that's called synergy. Now, among the many harsh things the president said about the media at his rally in Phoenix, talking about the wake of Charlottesville, he said this. Let's take a look.
But for the most part, honestly, these are really, really dishonest people, and they're bad people. And I really think they don't like our country. I really believe that.
So when Trump says he doesn't think journalists like the country, does that go too far? Is that part of a culture war here that goes beyond the political wars?
I think it does go too far. Our rule at National Review has always been not to try to criticize intentions. You know, stick to the facts, stick to policy, but we're obviously way beyond that moment in our politics. And Trump is just, he's the most intense and comprehensive media critic that our politics has ever seen. And if he feels as though he's embattled or feels as though he's being attacked unfairly by the press, which he feels most of the time, he's going to hit back, as he always said, twice as hard. So he's actually ramped up his rhetoric from where it was.
Well, just in half a minute or so, aren't some of the media playing into his hands with calling him unhinged and mentally ill and the over-the-top criticism we just spoke about?
Yeah, absolutely. So the reaction, again, not to pick on one particular network, but the reaction on CNN to his rally where he said such things was to start openly speculating about the president's mental and emotional stability. So this is how the cycle works. Trump amped it up a little bit, and the media amped it up a little bit. And my advice to both sides would be, let the other side punch itself out. Let the other side discredit itself with its hysterical attacks. But neither side seems interested in taking that advice.
A little rope-a-dope advice
Exactly.
from Rich Lowry. Rich, thanks very much for sitting down with us.
Thanks so much, Howard.